Morning. Taking my walk, thought I'd look at some news with you guys. Obviously, I kind of looked ahead and wanted to point out one article. This is going to be something that I may try to do, I don't want to say frequently, but with a semi-frequent cadence. It's going to be up to if you guys enjoy the content or not. I look at the news anyway, so if I'm going to do that with you guys present, why not? And try to keep the videos to a shorter length when I'm doing that though, so I'm not inundating you. Maybe we can break them up into sections. So the first one that we're going to talk about is Portland rioters light bonfire in front of federal courthouse. The app that we're using is Newsvoice. I covered that in a video yesterday. It's free. You can also use Ground News or allsides.com if you happen to not have a smartphone and you need news that's rated through bias. So let's talk about this. According to the Portland police, the crowd lit several fires on Friday night, including a large bonfire in the middle of the street in front of the federal courthouse. Videos show rioters burning American flags and Bibles. Portland police did not engage with the demonstrators, but did respond to a shooting in the area where over 150 rounds were shot and one round struck a woman in the arm. So that's a summary of the amalgamation of all of the different articles, and that's written by, if I'm not mistaken, it's written by a volunteer. That is not a official statement. It's basically just a summary. So we're going to move the video up a little bit so that we can look at the headlines where we're pulling this news from. The first one is from Breitbart. Portland protesters burn Bibles, American flags in the streets. So obviously they're focusing on things that inflame the conservative base. That's unsurprising because that's kind of where they're going to get their advertisement from. Their business is based off of right-wing news. Breitbart. I have no clue who Coin is. I haven't read them yet. I'll check them out and give my opinion. Bonfires end 64th night of Portland protests after peaceful gatherings. So already we see a difference between headlines from the right and headlines from the left. Okay, we're focusing on sensationalists on the right, and on the left, we're talking about peaceful protests as opposed to burning Bibles and flags and things. It's a little less. Aha! All right, yep. I'm not going to edit that out. Russia. Watch peaceful Portland protesters burn Bible and flag 24 hours after torching pig's head in cop hat. Kind of looks like they are leaning more towards what the right is saying. Well, I don't want to say the right. I want to say, in particular, Breitbart. That is from RT. RT is a state-owned Russian news company. We have an American branch, but they are Russian news. Take that how you want. Now, what's the most interesting to me are the two articles at the bottom from Oregon Live. More than 2,000 turnout at Portland protests Friday as state troopers stay away for second night. And leaders in Thursday night crowd called out violence, turned focus away from federal courthouse in Portland. That is, that's an important distinction here. I'm going to turn the volume up a bit because we're going to see something in a second. That is an important distinction. These people are the media from on the ground right there in Portland. Before we watch a little short video, it's going to be like completely short. We're going to open up this Breitbart article and discuss it a little bit. All right. So, well, you might want to see that, but that's irrelevant to the video. Portland protesters burn Bibles, American flags in the streets. Then we see Then we see, like, right above that, the Dem City crime wave. Because it's about division. We know that, right? Protesters flocked to the Justice Center and federal courthouse in Portland again on Friday night, lighting fires and burning American flags and Bibles in the streets. I apologize if it gets a little windy. I'll try to speak up a little bit. Let's scroll down. So here, it's just a bunch of videos of left-wing activists, quote-unquote, burning Bibles. It's their money. It's a piece of paper. That's my opinion. I understand the idea that it's a religious document. I'm not trying to dispute religion. I'm trying to say our priorities are more on fabric and pages than they are on people. To me, that's an issue. Do not be under the illusion that these protests and riots are anything but an attempt to dismantle all of Western civilization. Ian Miles Chung. Checkmark. This is inflaming. Okay, this is designed to, as we split further apart, it's the pundits that are doing it. Look at Andy Ngo. I'm not entirely sure how to pronounce his last name. Antifa protesters in downtown Portland have started burning American flags in the street. They are also burning Bibles. I didn't know that Antifa had chapters in a membership card, and yeah. There we go. Breitbart showing one of RT's retweets right there. We want to talk about Russian disinformation. Okay? This whole article is just more of the same. You're more than welcome to look at it. It's in the Newsvoice app. Okay? Rioters started a large fire in downtown Portland at the peaceful protest. Video by Elisa Sarkis Azar. That is one of the most reasonable things that I see this man state in any of this. Okay? That is a very neutral statement, and to me, that's how they should be reporting these news. Stop taking sensational, provocative messages and putting them in there. Just report the damn news. Rioters started another fire in the street. Okay? So this article, as violent protesters start fires in downtown Portland, police responded to a shooting where at least 150 rounds were fired. There's been a large uptick in shootings and homicides in Portland since Ted Wheeler abolished the gun violence reduction team. Is it cause or is it correlation? I don't want to keep deep diving into this Breitbart article because it's going to extend the video. I want to try to cover a little bit more. What's really important is, to me, is this article down here on the bottom from Oregon Live. Leaders in Thursday night crowd called out violence, turned focus away from federal courthouse in Portland. Okay? All you who want to start something, bring that beep to another block. Okay? It's not about that building. It's not about bricks and mortars. The man in the Black Lives Matter shirt and cap thundered into a megaphone last Thursday night as he stood in the middle of Southwest 3rd Avenue as speeches ended in front of the Justice Center in downtown. Okay? So this article's kind of giving an idea that as situations started to inflame a little bit, that it's not mindless leftist provocateurs trying to dismantle our democracy, because we don't want to do that. I'm not considering myself a leftist or a violent leftist or anything like that. I try to keep myself away from labels. I consider myself an American with an opinion. I digress. So, main reason I want to show this is because of this video.
Protest! For all you that want to start something, take that shit to another block. It's all about peaceful protest. Peaceful protest. Peaceful protest. Peaceful protest. Peaceful protest.
Peaceful protest. Okay? We need more of these types of videos because the sensationalist media sound some kind of way there, but it's true. The sensationalism that's coming out of some of the media is going to cause us to only have one portion of the story. Get the cameras out, film what's going on, film the fact that people that want violence are, in my opinion, extremists. They're extremists on the right, they're extremists on the left. I don't know if they're extremists in the center. That kind of doesn't make sense to me. But the point is this isn't the entirety of the group. The people that are burning and looting and whatever they happen to be doing. So lumping them in with a blanket statement is a very irresponsible thing to do. Keep the cameras on. When you have events where the protesters are calling for a redirection of that energy to something more productive, where they're calling for peaceful protests, we need to be filming this stuff. We need to be getting that out. I will share this, okay? I will share these peaceful calls because that's what we need. That's what's going to push us forward. That's what's going to... One day we're going to have a conversation across the aisle, and we're not going to be able to do it when we keep pulling the line further away from the center. I'm not saying on a political standpoint. I'm talking about coming to a middle ground in discussions. Anyway, I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, please let me know. As time progresses, things like these will probably become a little more, put together, a little more to the point. Leave me any of your feedback. I can be found on Twitter at WIKWEKO. I can be found at indigenouspatriot.com. That's INDIGENOUS Patriot, PATRIOT.com. Can also be found on Facebook and Indigenous Patriot. Okay, join me. Let's talk about things.